Metaphors of our Torah portion are plentiful and resonate in so many ways this week. Are you flooded with anxiety and worry? Are you taking shelter from the storms? Are you battering down the hatchet and self-isolating in your home? Are you adrift on the waves of loneliness? Are you seeking out safe harbor? Are you like the dove who searches and searches and can find no place to rest? Are you like Noah, wondering when this frightful time will come to an end so that you can come out and fully embrace the world once again? Are you like the animals, going a little stir-crazy after not 40 days and 40 nights, but 7 long months of being cooped up with no place to roam? Do you feel like Noah's wife, nameless, invisible, unrecognizable, unrecognized? Do you feel like Noah's children, whose lives are on hold, waiting impatiently, waiting to get back to the prime of their lives for creative discovery? This week, a friend and colleague of mine, Rabbi Barry Dov Katz, reminded me of a hermeneutical problem found in verse 16 of chapter 6. Sohar ta'aseh lateva. Make a tzohar for the ark, God commanded. The problem is that we don't know what a tzohar was. Tzohar is a hapax legomenon, a word that only appears once in all of the Hebrew Bible. When a word appears only once, it's impossible to fully understand what it means because there's no context to illuminate its use. This, of course, gives the rabbis great opportunity to rush in with interpretation and imagination. Midrash Rabbah records the great debate between Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana and Rabbi Levi, who discussed what it was that Noah was commanded to make for the ark. What is a tzohar? Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana teaches a tzohar is a window that allows for the sun to shine in by day and for the moon and stars to cast their soft glow into the ark at night. It's a practical answer. The ark would need fresh air and natural light. Rabbi Levi, however, notices that elsewhere in our Torah text, there is mention of a chalon, which is the ordinary word for an ordinary window. Excuse me. The chalon is the ordinary window. So what then is the tzohar? It must not have been an ordinary opening to allow for external light to descend into the ark. Rabbi Levi instead surmises that a tzohar is a jewel, a precious stone that is so finely polished that it would gleam and refract light within the ark, like a multifaceted ring or like a chandelier of crystals or even a disco ball. This tzohar would pick up the smallest hints of light in the darkness and magnify the light from within. Rabbi Abba claims that God is instructing Noah to draw light from external sources. Rabbi Levi imagines the journey on the ark must have been very frightening and lonely and even boring for Noah. And so he would have to discover internal sources of light. Both answers are true for us today as we float along this journey called Corona. Our houses are our arks. We wait and we wait. The numbers of cases continue to rise as the waters of Noah continued to rise. What are our external sources of light today? For some who are able-bodied and lucky enough to be able to walk out into the world and absorb some vitamin D, this could be a literal question. What are the sources of light for you today? But for all of us, we can take this as a metaphorical question too. It's important to remember that human beings need external light, even now. I recently received a letter from Dr. Tam, thanking faith leaders for providing spiritual and emotional stabilizing communities for Torontonians. And at the same time, she urged us to make known local social and mental health services for our congregants. Make it Sohar for your ark, God commands. Rabbi Abba says, build that window for yourself so you can attach yourself to the daily world outside. Who are your stars? Who are your constellations that keep you on course now? And what is your moon? Is it the Jewish calendar that anchors you in the rhythms of Jewish time? Pesach, followed by Shavuot, followed by Tisha B'Av, then came Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah. Last week was Parashat Bereshit, this week Parashat Noach. The moon has always been the rhythm of time, so we know where we are and we know where we are headed. And what is your sun now? What gets you out of bed each morning? What is that external responsibility, that sense of purpose and mission that drives you forward and protects you from floating adrift? What books or music or film bring enlightenment from the world outside to you at home? Make it Sohar for your ark, God commands. Rabbi Levi asks us now, what are your internal sources of light? What jewel of personal wisdom is illuminating for you now? What gem of personal strength, what multifaceted precious stone of character is an internal source of light for you during these long days and nights of pandemic? What new hobbies make your ark a little brighter? What prayer or meditation practice illuminate your ark even on these gray days? What instrument do you play? What poetry do you write to give expression to your thoughts, your desires, your gratitude? This Shabbat marks the one-year anniversary when my own youngest son, Jesse, was called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. In fact, he's chanting his parsha at the family service just exactly now. Excuse me, I wish I could hear you, Jesse, Yasher Koach, as you chant from our dining room. As I think back a year ago, one of my favorite moments of preparing for Jesse's big day was when we studied the parsha together. And we discovered there were two moments when Noah seemed to struggle. It was getting into the ark and getting out of the ark. God had to command Noah on each of these occasions, Bo ata el hateva, get yourself into the ark, and say min hateva, get yourself out of the ark. It seems Noah was reluctant to leave the world he knew, to abandon the world he knew. Even with the threatening clouds, he would not climb aboard until God commanded. And not only that, but God had to close the door in on him once Noah climbed into the ark, as it is written, Vayisgor Adonai ba'ado. God closed him in. So reluctant was Noah to be cut off from the world outside. We can identify with him here, I know. The number of cases is the highest it has ever been in Canada, and yet many still, even now, too many, refuse to isolate. Despite government orders, they are reluctant to leave the world they know and love, a world of restaurants and hustle and bustle on the sidewalks, a world of concert halls and sports arenas and parties and weddings. It is a good world, but for a time, we must heed the command, Bo ata el hateva, go inside. Physical distance, protect yourself, save yourself. We can understand Noah's reluctance to go into the ark, but why did he need to be commanded to leave the ark? That's really the tricky question of the day. After so long in isolation from the world, wouldn't he rush to put his feet back down on solid ground. According to one midrash, Noah was in the ark not for 40 days and 40 nights, but for 10 months, and another says even for 12 months, based on some of the details in our Torah text. Wouldn't Noah break down that door which God sealed from the outside so that he could greet the world again? Why wouldn't he? Perhaps Noah was afraid to face a world that had changed, a world that he no longer knew, that he couldn't recognize. How would he function there? How would he make this strange new world a home for himself again? Many of us are already asking, will I be able to pick up where I left off? How will I find my place in a post-corona world? How will I adapt? What learning curve will I have to climb? How will I reinvent my work? How will I reinvent myself? The truth is, we don't yet know. Many are surmising, but we don't yet know. So let us take comfort from Noah's experience. Say min hateva, when it is safe, when it was time, Noah was commanded to leave the ark, and what did he do? What was the very first thing he did? He didn't make a reservation at his favorite restaurant. He didn't book a ticket to his favorite vacation destination. No. Noah built an altar. He went to the synagogue, so to speak. He built an altar and he offered up sacrifices of thanksgiving to God who had protected him from the storm. And when his sons and his wife and his daughters-in-law come down from the ark, what did they do? They planted seeds in the soil so that life could take hold once again. An act of faith, each one building an altar and planting seeds. Bimhera b'yameinu. May these come speedily and soon in our own time. Until then, we will hold fast to God's promise to Noah, a promise of constancy and protection. Despite the demand for change and adaptation, it is written, Od kol yemei haaretz, zera v'katzir, v'kor v'cham, v'kayitz l'choref, v'yom v'layla. Time on earth endures. Whether seed time or harvest time, cold or heat, summer or winter, day or night, lo yish botu, these shall never cease. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will.